All right, so let's try this again. Okay, guys, we are streaming again. We can absolutely start from the beginning. If they couldn't hear you, that's not really fair. So let's see here. Okay. Okay, so can you guys hear me okay? Let's see. The comments seem to be delayed. Same thing. What is going on? Still no good. So is it me or is it Joya that sounds bad? Okay, hold on one second. I have an idea. Okay. I don't know if maybe that could have affected it at all. So let's start, I guess, from the top and see what people start saying.
Okay.
But they're saying it's your side, so I don't understand.
Me?
Yeah.
I can change my headphones again.
I mean, we can try it without the headphones, and I'll just make sure not to speak in between too much so there's not a lot of feedback.
Okay, let's try that. Okay.
Oh,
I'm
wait,
speaking without.
They said you sound much better. Maybe. Okay, so put your headphones back in. It must have been my headphones that were messing it up. Sorry about that.
Okay,
Yeah,
how
so
do I sound?
The comments are delayed, so I think what's happening now is, okay, cool. I think we're good to go. All right, so welcome, Joya, back to the channel. Let's start from the top. So can you summarize for me with properly working headphones what your project is?
Yes, of course. So DeepBrain Chain is using the blockchain technology to build a platform where anyone with any sort of AI needs can come onto the platform and buy computing power, data, and algorithms, and then using them to train AI models on the platform. There will be people selling computing power, selling data, and selling AI algorithms as well on the DeepBrain Chain platform.
Very cool. And as you know, I don't know if everybody could hear me last time, but what I was saying was I was surprised by the data aspect of the platform because I didn't actually know that that was a component. And I had mentioned previously that data is now, as sought after or more so as a commodity than oil, which is very interesting because so much can be used for so many things now. So how did the project come about and whose idea was it to utilize the blockchain for AI?
So the idea really was our CEO Feng's idea. The reason being, he has actually been working in natural language processing for over 6 years now. He has an AI company himself here in Shanghai as well. And during his venture with AI, he never had enough computing power to train his models and never had enough data to be able to evolve his models. So 2 years ago, he started researching Bitcoin and blockchain. And for him, the ideas just clicked. He just realized that he could use the blockchain technology to solve the issues that he's been having with computing power and data for his AI models.
Very cool. So, I mean, why does DeepBrain Chain need blockchain or vice versa? Do you think it's a good use case for the technology?
Of course, I think it's a very good use case of blockchain to combine it with AI. I think to understand why it is good, you have to first understand roughly what AI is. And so the three very crucial elements that's made up for AI is the computing power, the data you need to train your models, and your AI algorithms to train your models. And without one of these things, you won't be able to evolve your AI models. Without enough computing power, if you have a lot of data, there's nothing you can do. If you have a lot of computing power, but you don't have enough data, you also cannot evolve your AI models. So these three crucial elements need to work hand in hand together. And like I said before, during our CEO's venture with his AI company, he never had enough computing power because it's really expensive. You have to buy a lot of
absolutely.
GPUs. Yeah, a lot of machines, and not everyone can afford that. You either have to gather a lot of funds over and over again, or only big companies can do it. You don't see small ventures, individuals, small group of people developing a world-class AI machine, right? And also, he never had enough data because sometimes it can be difficult to acquire sensitive data.
Mm-hmm.
And the way data sellers deal with that is that they will either raise the price of the data so they become really expensive, or they will just not sell it at all, because they are afraid that you will be able to copy the data and resell the data you've acquired, and then the data owners will lose the value of their data. So DeepBrain is really trying to leverage the blockchain technology to solve these two major issues within the AI industry, and that's why we think blockchain is a really good AI is a really good use case for the blockchain technology.
Yeah, I mean, obviously because data is such a commodity now, people can charge, whatever they want realistically for it. So I can see how that could be very pricey very quickly. So there was a post, I don't know, it was an article written or if it was on Reddit or something, that there was somebody that had said that they didn't believe that AI and blockchain were a good mixture for each other. So what is what's your stance on people who have that view?
First of all, we have to know specifically why they think the two don't mix, because from our point of view, if you think that the two don't mix, you're missing out on a huge potential. And it is actually currently a trend right now. It's an upcoming trend in the blockchain space to actually combine AI and blockchain, because more and more people are seeing the opportunity and the potential, how the two can complement each other, and how blockchain could be the solution to the ever so slow development of AI.
Yeah, no, I mean, to me, obviously, again, your project is very, very dense and very tech heavy. But from what I, was able to gather from doing research, it seems like to me, obviously not an expert, that it would make sense for the two to go together. Utilizing blockchain to obtain data and utilize free computing space, which just kind of makes sense. But but everybody's going to have their own opinions, right? So
yes, of course, and it would be helpful if they can come up with a more specific comment on why exactly they don't think the two mix together.
Yeah, well, yeah, it's absolutely always better if someone has a reason, but unfortunately, it seems that opinions are very, very vast in this space. So, so why did you choose Neo as your blockchain base for DBC?
So Leo is a very well-established platform, as we all know, and we needed someone with experience to guide us on the ICO, and also we needed to utilize a smart contract as a start. And it just so happened it was very convenient that Neo is a Chinese project as well, so that added to the value. But gradually, we do realize that Neo doesn't focus as much on AI as we do, and we had to branch off and develop our own blockchain to be able to achieve what we're trying to do with servicing AI.
So, well, and I feel like that's the trend. ICOs using platforms and eventually moving on to doing their own things. How far are you guys from the development of the blockchain being finished?
So we're in iteration 2 right now, testing iteration 1, and iteration 2 is mainly the architecture design of the blockchain, and we are launching our testnet next month, June, which is very soon.
Yes.
And when we launch our testnet, we'll be having different AI companies and institutions and individuals testing it. So yeah.
Very cool. So how will the token, specifically be used on the network? What's the purpose of having a token?
So with our case, DBC is a utility token. You can use it in many ways. For a start, on our platform, if you want to trade anything like computing power, AI data, AI algorithms and data, you have to have DBC. You have to buy them with DBC, and when you sell, you receive DBC. So that's really how it's used, and it's very crucial to our ecosystem.
Very cool. Yeah, and I mean, it makes sense to have a platform, if you have a platform with a product, to have a coin that goes along or a token that goes along with everything else. So what would you consider your biggest weakness, whether it be team or tech related?
So I'd say our team is really strong and hardworking, but I do realize that perhaps in marketing and publicizing ourselves globally, we've been challenged and we're learning as we go. So maybe that's one of the issues we're facing. Tech-wise, there will always be new problems. There will always be hiccups. So what you really have to do is just keep on tackling new issues. And our development team is really strong and still growing. So I'm confident that they will be able to tackle new issues whenever they come along.
Yeah, well, definitely important to have a strong team. So that's good that that's not necessarily a concern. And again, with most projects, there's always going to be tech issues. You're always going to run into problems that you're going to have to battle and overcome. I think that's just kind of a hazard in the space, unfortunately. Yeah. So outside of your immediate goals for the project, like within the next year, where do you see development, or what would you like to see development at, in 5 years, in 10 years?
I can't say about 10 years. That just seems like such a long way off, really. I can only see to the end of this month and the next month, really.
I'm right there with you.
Yeah, but ideally, in 5 years, we anticipate roughly 1 million GPUs on the network to be servicing AIs, to be offering computing power. And we anticipate that over half of the AI firms globally will be using the platform. And there should be a lot of data trading happening on the platform as well.
Yeah. That's very cool. Definitely going to be pretty interesting to see what the space looks like in 5 years, because there are so many projects like yours that are under development and have so much coming up to look forward to. So I'm excited to see kind of what the future holds for crypto as a whole.
I agree.
So do you have any other avenues that you think that the project would go down? Any other use cases that may be something that you'd be interested in doing later on?
At the moment, we really are just focusing on AI, because as it is already such a huge problem to tackle. If we can achieve everything we wanted to do with servicing AI, then that would be amazing, really.
Yeah, and again, obviously, like you said, you have something that's very large to tackle, so it'll be interesting to see how that works out. So your plan is to make data more accessible, obviously, like we talked about, without jeopardizing privacy and still being able to share data. So how can you promise people that you will be able to keep the data safe?
Yeah, that's a question we get asked very often. Apart from saying that we will use smart contract for all the tradings on the platform, let me put it this way. So there's mainly 3 ways that we're trying to protect data for data owners and really anyone who's trying to sell data. So imagine for an AI company, they will have a lot of data stored internally within their company, and they will have a lot of programmers who will be working with this data. So they'll be in contact with the data itself, right? And that presents a risk of leakage. Of course, I'm sure everyone trusts their employees, but sometimes things happen. And whenever there's contact, there's a risk. So what we can do, what we can help AI companies with, is to migrate these data from their internal platform onto the DeepBrain chain platform. So that's one way, because that way eliminate the contact between data and their programmers. And then once these data are migrated onto the platform, onto the DeepBrain chain platform, all data will be encrypted, also stored distributedly. So that's a second way of eliminating the chance of more risk. And finally, when the people are selling data on the platform, because it's done on blockchain, you couldn't possibly copy it off the chain and then resell it. When you buy, you don't really get to see the data you buy. We'll have a mechanism of making sure that what you got is what you said you wanted to buy, because you won't be able to see the data itself. So that way you can't copy the data and then resell it off the chain. So that's how we're trying to protect data.
Yeah, and I mean, that's another very good example of why blockchain is a good use case for this, right? Because of the fact that it's got that ability that it can't be copied or changed.
Yeah.
So I saw a common concern, amongst people that I was reading stuff online, that they worried that AI mixed with blockchain could be a cause for concern because of the fact that it's decentralized. And so in some aspect, maybe having a mind of its own. What's the team's view on that?
Okay. Again, I have to know more precisely why exactly this person or these people think that decentralization is worse or not much better than centralization, because when you have to place trust in just one single source, because with decentralization, you have the opportunity, the chance to use various consensus mechanisms for different parties to reach an agreement on the authenticity of a distributed ledger, which anyone can access and that is immutable. And for us, that presents more security than having a centralized system, really.
Yeah, well, I think we've learned over the years that decentralization is a good place to move to, because obviously centralized entities have caused a lot of problems, whether it be in tech or whatever else.
Yes.
So,
and actually, another point is that some people said that, so with decentralization, maybe AI can have a mind of its own. And this might answer your earlier question of whether we see ourselves going to another domain in the future. This is not exactly another domain, but this is another way that we can utilize blockchain technology to somehow help AI. And when AI is mature enough, to also help human beings while using the AI service, because we can actually use the blockchain technology to reframe the AI minds. People are afraid that, scenarios in sci-fi movies might happen where AI machines will have their own minds, and they were designed to decide to act against the common good of human being. So maybe it's an idea as well that our CEO has mentioned in one of the previous interviews back in January, I believe, that he's thinking about how we can use the blockchain technology to reframe AI, so to prevent it from acting out in the future. So I think that's an interesting point to raise.
Yeah, no, that is cool, and I think what they were probably worried about was the fact of it having a mind of its own, and it's another good reason why blockchain would be an important use for this. So, you said that your major where am I reading? Your major differences. What are your major differences, do you think, compared to your competitors? So specifically, like a project like SingularityNet.
Yeah. So that's a question we get very often as well, and I find that there's a common misunderstanding on what we do and what other AI blockchain projects do. So SingularityNet really is focusing on using their platform to help evolve AI algorithms through the use of their AI agents. So their focus is on evolving AI algorithms, making AI algorithms better and better. And our focus is to offer a trading platform where you can use AI algorithms and data and then computing power to do your whole AI thing, to start from scratch. When you need to develop an AI application, you can do the whole process from scratch to launching your product on DeepBrain chain. So we are not really competitors if we're not doing the same thing. And in reality, I believe that we will all benefit from working together. Actually, I think all these AI and blockchain projects should think about working together, collaborating, and then helping each other go faster in what they're trying to do.
Yeah, and I've actually seen that movement a bit in this space, is that a lot of projects that maybe aren't necessarily competitors but have similarities end up either having partnerships or working together, being interested in at least the idea of seeing if there's anything that can be done together. And I think that's important because, one success for one project is success for all in this space. I think it's very important that, good competition's good, but it's also important to stay friendly and work together and things like that.
Yeah, definitely.
So I saw that during the ICO, and I might be wrong, but I'm just double checking, that you only allotted 9% of the total supply to the ICO. Is that correct?
Yes, that is.
What was the thought behind that?
That is essentially a design of how we want to distribute and allocate and use our token, really. So the ICO was conducted under a specific environment, and within that environment, we calculated how much fund we wanted to raise through ICO, and we set a hard cap of 30,000 ETH, which is roughly 12 million USD dollars. And so that's mainly the reason for it. Really, it's just the design. Yeah.
That was an easy answer. So you guys recently released that you'll be launching an AI blockchain research center in Silicon Valley.
Yes,
and
that's
the
right.
article I was reading noted that there are plans to invest somewhere in like the range of $100 million over the next 3 years. So my question for you guys is, why Silicon Valley?
Well, I think that's actually an easy question to answer. So if you understand that we're trying to work with AI, and Silicon Valley really is the center of AI in America, and it's also where the talent pool is the biggest. So it was a logical decision for us. Yeah.
It just seemed like a big jump because obviously you said you were in Singapore, at least most of you are.
No, actually, the foundation is registered in Singapore, but most of us work from Shanghai in China, and the other half of our team is currently in Silicon Valley.
Oh, very cool.
Mm-hmm.
And that article also mentioned the pre-sales of AI mining workstations. Are you concerned at all about like the regulatory equipment and stuff being in the US and dealing with kind of regulations of blockchain and whatnot?
Yeah, so actually regulations surrounding these mining machines, this sort of equipment is still maturing and it's mutable. It's not quite set in stone yet. And our AIMs actually fulfill two functions. So one's deep learning and one's the blockchain. So it's kind of flexible. It's not just defined by one function. And also currently there isn't a market that restricts the development of AI, and these machines are made particularly for AI training, for AI computing. So we are confident that we'll be able to sell these products in all markets.
Very cool. Yeah, I was curious. I just didn't know if maybe there would be different regulations on something like that because it's related to cryptocurrency, and obviously that's kind of a hot topic right now. But that's good to know. So are you guys doing auctions and bidding for the mining workstations, or did you put a number value outright for them to be purchased?
So I tried to explain in my live stream last week, I think just before we launched the pre-sale webpage on our official website. This really isn't a bidding and auction process. It might look like that way, but it isn't. And the reason that we haven't just put a number for people to just buy these machines outright is because, like I said, it's a community reward plan, really. And we want to reward DBC supporters who's been with us from the very beginning, who's been holding on to.
Oh no. Man, we are not having good luck today. Oh no. Are you there? Joya? Let's see.
Is it fixed now?
Oh, sort of. I can hear you.
Okay, I can hear you as well.
Yeah, I see you're moving now.
Okay, good. Okay, so we will buy. Right.
Rewarding DBC holders for the mining. Yeah.
Exactly. So they understand how important and how rewarding it could be to join the DBC network very early on, and that's why we have this DBC wallets ranking system. So it's not bidding, it's not auctioning. You don't call a price and hope that nobody calls a higher price than you. It really is just if you have more DBC in your wallet, you have more probability of qualifying for buying, really, because we don't know who has the biggest amount of DBC in their wallet, and we're not trying to set a limit on how much DBC you need to have to qualify as a die-hard fan. That's not what we're trying to say. We're just trying to say we understand that a lot of fans want to join the network early on, and this is our way of rewarding them and helping them do that. Because if we wanted to make money and just sell machines, we would have just given it a price and let people buy outright, really. Yeah.
That's a cool idea though, and with a lot of ICOs and with projects like you guys, you have a very loyal following of people that definitely want to be involved. So it's cool to kind of give them the opportunity to do so and think about doing something different than just selling them.
Yeah, exactly.
So before, I started doing research, I had asked Reddit and Twitter and everybody else to see if they had come up with any questions, and I got a couple community questions to ask you from people.
Okay.
So someone wanted me to ask, what would be the difference in revenue from someone who's keeping the workstation on all the time and doesn't engage with the network compared to someone who services algorithms?
Okay, so someone who keeps a workstation earns a revenue, and someone who serves, I imagine he or she is trying to say who sells AI algorithms also earn a revenue. But these are two different ways of earning revenues, so you couldn't really compare them because the price, or how much you earn, how much you need to sell, how much you need to do is different. So keeping a workstation is what we call mining. It's not really mining in the traditional sense, but it's a mining process. So you have a workstation that has GPU power. You offer computing power to anyone who wants to buy it, and then our system will reward you according to your workload. DBC as a revenue for you, and the buyer of this computing power will also reward you with a certain amount of DBC, and that's how you earn as someone who keeps a workstation. And for someone who sells AI algorithms, you just sell your algorithm.
Oh man. Oh, this is bad luck, guys. I'm sorry. I don't know if it's my end or if it's her end that is causing the skipping like this. Let's see. Oh.
Uh-oh.
Wait. I hear ya.
Okay, are we back on?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, I don't know if it's me because my VPN is on, so that could be a reason.
Yeah, it might be that.
Why does it say unstable?
Yeah, because I can hear you now, but you're not moving.
Okay. Am I moving now?
No, you're still frozen. I wonder.
Can you hear me still?
Yeah, I can definitely still hear you loud and clear, but your image isn't moving. Maybe try just refreshing the page and jumping back in.
Yeah, that's what I'll do. Hold on a second.
Yeah, no problem. Take your time.
Okay. I'm gonna jump out and refresh.
She's AI. Everybody's saying you guys are funny. Oh, man. There she is. There you go. Back to normal.
Sorry.
No, it's all right. Don't worry about it. But there's always going to be issues when we're doing stuff over the internet.
Yeah.
So I think we were talking about rewards as far as keeping mining stations on and.
Yes. So I was saying how if you have a workstation, you're earning revenues from two sources. One is our DeepBrain system. We will reward you for the computing power you're offering to the AI firms with DBC, and whoever is buying computational power from you will also pay you with DBC. So that's how someone with a workstation can earn money. And for someone who serves AI algorithms, you will earn by being paid by the buyer.
Very cool. So would that payment be based on what people agree on? Is there like a fixed rate? Is it dependent on the price of DBC?
There will be a calculation mechanism, but also it will have to depend on the agreement between the two parties as well.
Okay. Well, that's cool. So there's definitely some room for things changing, evolving, and whatnot.
Yes, it will be fairly flexible.
Very cool. Someone else asked if the payouts will start from day one of the mainnet going live.
Yes, that's right. It will start from the first day when the official mainnet is live.
Very cool. And the last one I have, which seems to be like the burning question everybody always wants me to ask, is open lines of communications with exchanges, specifically Binance, if there's any talk of that.
Of course, we are in open lines of communication with various exchanges. I cannot speak of the matter any more than that. And of course, there is a possibility of us being listed on Binance. But you could say that with any project.
Yeah.
That is just the nature of things. And I really, really wish I could give you more than that. but that really is all I am allowed to
well,
tell
I
you.
mean, at least it's something, so people have an idea that you guys are, there are open lines of communication that's being discussed, so that's pretty cool. Well, as far as my, prepared questions, that's all I've got for you. Is there anything else that you want to add? Anything else you want to say?
No, not really. I think it was actually a very extensive and thorough question list. So really, yeah.
Cool. Well, thank you guys again. And there's going to be a ton of links in the description, everything for the AI miners, the Telegram, the YouTube, the Reddit, all kinds of stuff. So check out the links if you're interested in DBC. And again, I want to thank you for coming on. I appreciate it. And I wish you guys the best of luck.
Thank you very much as well. Bye, everyone.
Bye.